Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Social Live. We have a lot of breaking social media news that happened over the past 24 hours.
I know. It's kind of crazy.
Thanks for joining me today, Jules. 3 weeks in a row?
Thanks for having me.
Is it 3 weeks or 2 weeks?
I think so.
3 weeks in a row.
I lost count.
You're a regular. I'm getting emails. People actually think that you're a Courtney now.
Oh, that is honestly such a compliment.
Yes. Oh, that's so sweet.
Oh my
That's
God.
why you said that.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's watching.
Yeah.
In her meeting.
You? Yeah.
In her meeting. Well, we have an awesome show for you guys today. We are joined by the amazing Nicole Rosado. She is the founder of some incredible businesses she's going to talk to you about in just a few moments. But before we get to that, this morning we got a message from Kim, who is behind the camera right now, that the New York Public Library is doing something really cool on Instagram.
Yeah, they are going to be showing on their Instagram story and in the highlight section some of the classic American novels. So right now they have Alice in Wonderland on the story, part 1. And they're beautiful. I'm obsessed with the design and everything. They even have, as you click through, they have a little like design for where to put your thumbs.
So you can hold the,
yeah,
so
I
you
think
can
it's
keep
so
reading.
cute.
Well, it's certainly a way to keep people engaged on Instagram, excited about reading, excited about the New York Public Library, because you always have to think, how can you make something exciting for your fans and followers on Instagram, especially when it comes to reading books? How can you bring that to life?
Yeah, exactly. I think this is really, really cool. And I don't have like a Kindle or anything like that, so this would be great for me like on the train.
This is good. You don't have to buy.
Yeah,
you don't have
exactly.
to subscribe to something else.
I love it. I think it's really cool.
That reminded me. We still forgot to make you an Amazon account. 3 weeks and counting.
Oops.
4 weeks.
Yeah. I
So
need that.
do it. Well, speaking of Instagram, they are testing a new feature where they might be suggesting recommended posts and content for you to view and follow in your feed. What do you think about this?
So essentially, this is kind of a complement to a feature they started rolling out last month, the All Caught Up feature. So once in their efforts to kind of make sure users are spending their time on the platform wisely, they're going to start giving you an update when you're all caught up with all the new content in your feed. So now, when you're all caught up, a new recommendations tab will pop up based on content you view and your interests and what you're looking at on Instagram. And they're going to recommend that you go check out these new accounts.
But don't you think that goes against what Instagram is trying to implement by the time well spent feature?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're basically just going to pull content from the Explore tab and put it in this little recommended bubble. And you can either click to view or follow those accounts, but you're just going to end up spending more time.
Yeah.
Sure, it might be content that you're interested in, but that might increase just kind of like passively scrolling on the app, which they're trying to avoid.
And there already is the Discover feature on Instagram where
Exactly.
you can click through to that tab and aimlessly scroll.
Yeah.
And that's also based on things you're already clicking on. All I see, we talk about this, are puppies.
I think this is a really... I think this is interesting. I understand why they did it. But I feel like it's a sneaky way for them to be like, oh, we're getting users to spend their time more wisely on the platform, but also keep people engaged.
Yeah, well,
this is a sneaky cut around
roundabout,
the rule.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to do that. And then in Facebook news, so this was just posted this morning. So if you log onto your Facebook account today, you're going to see a message that says, we're doing this to make pages more transparent by providing info that helps people learn about pages on Facebook. Starting September 6th, people visiting pages will see additional information in the info and ads section, including the date the page was created and the country and locations where people who manage the page are based. So again, this is Facebook's effort to make Facebook more transparent. There was obviously a lot of issues that have gone on with Facebook over the past year or so, and they want people to really understand who's creating these pages and who are the people behind these pages so it's more transparent.
I think this is extremely necessary on Facebook, and I really hope that people use this feature and become more informed about the ads they're seeing on Facebook, because this is definitely needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
In other news for Facebook ads, they're also creating a new process to convert still images to video on the platform. So this is pretty interesting. It's through Facebook's Creator Shop, and this is not a self-serve feature yet, so it's something you're going to need to contact a rep at Facebook about to start using. But video content outperforms any other content across all social media platforms. Facebook obviously knows that, so they've created new ways for brands to take still images and animate or put into motion some different features of their ads so that it looks like a video ad on the platform. There are 4 different options, and you can, ranging from animating your logo to just animating 1 or 2 aspects of the ad. but it's going to be like in slow motion, and I think this is really cool for brands, especially to maximize their efforts on Facebook.
Absolutely. This is an incredible feature, and let's see what happens once it starts rolling out for the general public to be able to use on their pages. And then in other Facebook news, we have so much Facebook news today.
Always
so Facebook news. Facebook is also going to be testing out Facebook story highlights on profiles. And we've talked about Facebook stories a few times because it really hasn't taken off we never really thought it was going to take off.
Yeah.
It definitely still hasn't taken off. I know personally here a lot of us don't use it. I use it sometimes and I view other people's stories. But now you're going to be able to make a highlight section similar to what you can make on Instagram.
On your profile.
On your profile. And what people are speculating is this going to be a bigger opportunity for Facebook to be able to monetize since they're running out of space in the newsfeed?
I think this obviously makes sense for Facebook because Instagram had it first. They're always testing one feature on either platform and then rolling it out to both. But some of the articles I was reading about this update yesterday suggested that this is kind of this is part of a larger theme for users on social media. And probably why Snapchat has had some trouble, because Snapchat is based on quick disappearing content, but clearly users want to be able to save their stories, put them on their feeds for an indefinite amount of time so that people can come check out their stories from a week ago or a month ago or things like that. So I think this is interesting just with like behavior of users on social media in general.
I'm probably more likely to use Facebook stories now that I can actually keep them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I love the highlights on Instagram.
Yeah, me too. I actually just started seeing this on my Instagram page, and they're actually suggesting stories for me based on the kind of content I post.
I'm getting that too.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But they don't really make sense. It's like dogs, and then like random pictures of like me out and about.
Where are the dogs coming from?
Dogs we've had in the office. Beluga, actually.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Always got to throw in a shout out.
Yeah, exactly.
My name is Beluga on Instagram. Follow him.
Shameless plug.
Follow him. All right. Well, that's all the breaking social media news we have for today. We know there'll be plenty more next week. And we are so excited now to welcome our guest to the show, Nicole Rosado. She is the founder of We Are Women Owned and the Style Theory. Welcome to SocialLIVE.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for waking up early and getting here.
This is such a pleasure for me. Honestly, I walked in and I was like, this is Lady Boss goals. What you've been able to accomplish through SocialFly. And I mentioned to her earlier, we actually met 2 years ago and so much has happened since then.
It's been a wild ride for the past 2.5 years.
Congratulations.
I'm so glad that you're here. We weren't even doing SocialLIVE back then, so
congratulations.
You are
it's
now.
awesome.
Thank you. Congrats to you too. And I would love for you to tell everyone a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur and how you got started.
Oh my gosh. So I've lived about 7 lives at this point. So I actually went to college for acting. That's what I majored in, but I told my parents I was going in for international management.
That's so funny.
I
wanted to go to school for theater, but I wasn't allowed.
I recommend everybody take an acting course or even improv, which is terrifying, but I learned a lot about myself. And I also dealt with a lot of social anxiety growing up. So it was very therapeutic for me.
Sure.
And I'm a very empathetic person. So it just came naturally, I guess. But then while in college, I needed to make money. So I started working in retail, and I've always loved fashion. Very quickly learned corporate was not for me. I just didn't feel like it was my place. So I started working as a manager and a buyer for a couple of boutiques in New York City and realized that felt like home to me. I like that one-on-one, more personable interaction. I'm a very like loving, giving, nurturing kind of person. The women in our community are like, you're such a mama bear. So I did that, and then I was working all of the time, and I felt like I didn't have any interaction with the world. Like I would work really late, working and managing, managing at a boutique, you would stay like 9, 10 o'clock sometimes, right? Because you're running everything. And so I decided to start a blog. And I loved fashion and beauty, and so it was just my name at first. It was my acting website. I'm like, I'm not using this anymore for this. And so
what year was
started, oh my God, I can't even remember. It must have been around 2009.
Okay.
Yeah, and so maybe even a little bit earlier. And so I started to meet people from the blogging community and got some really cool, for not having a ton of followers, collaborations with brands that I adore.
Awesome.
For instance, Birchbox. Birchbox has become
awesome.
such a big part of my life.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Really?
Like, not only, I mean, I just started purchasing their boxes and I was like, this is such a cool concept, like from the beginning. And then they started to invite me to events, slowly but surely. They used to host like these really cool Birch blogger events. That's what they were called.
Wow.
And then they actually invited me to film a few videos with them for their
Wow.
YouTube channel.
So
And
it's
that
all
was
happening
like,
organically.
it was
Yeah.
crazy. And I remember being so hard on myself because they've worked with influencers with numbers that were beyond what, you know, I had at the time and even still now. And it was just such an honor. I was like, why do you want to work with me? But I think it was because I genuinely loved them.
Yeah.
And it was that authenticity. It was just like a natural partnership. And so in talking about social media, they would allow me to do their Instagram takeovers for them. So anytime I would, actually it was Snapchat at the time. It wasn't even Instagram yet. And so anytime I would get my box, I would take over their Instagram for the day and kind of show what I got. I would put on product, mention their product, and then take them about my day. And at that time, I decided shortly before that I was going to start my own business. So I have an online women's boutique called the Style Theory Collective. It's tstcollective.com. And I decided to take that passion for buying and curation. And I started my online shop and I leapt. Let me tell you, when I tell you I leapt, I leapt. Like I didn't have much of a plan. I was like, this is something I want to do. And I've always had kind of, since I was a kid, I think, that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
But because I was dealing with being so shy and like so introverted, it took me a long time to kind of, not even a long time, but it took me a little while to recognize that in myself. And even as a leader, it terrified me at first. So I started my online shop, and through the partnership with Birchbox and Snapchat, I created this amazing community on Snapchat. And it was very much like personal. I really got to know these people. And a lot of that started because one day, I kid you not, I was having a horrible day. My fiance is at work. I had no one to turn to. And so I go on Snapchat. I'm bawling. I'm bawling and I'm like, this is what's going on. And I had like 10 to 15 different videos. I kid you not. And then I post and I freak out. And I'm like, what did I just do? Am I sabotaging myself and my business
You're
right
being
now? But I had to do it for myself, but I had a feeling that it would resonate with at least one person out there. And so it took a little bit to get a response. And I'm like, should I delete this? How ridiculous was this? Like, oh my gosh, thinking the worst. But slowly but surely, the responses came in. And what was interesting was that equaled sales.
Wow.
Like I wasn't even promoting my product in any way. And that's when I realized the importance of this authenticity, engaging with your audience, sharing your brand story, your why, etc. And so that's kind of like how that started. So that's the Style Theory and the Style Theory Collective. Now we are women owned.
Yes, how did that start?
Similar to the story, I mean, it was the same time frame when I felt like I didn't have a community to turn to. I mean, I had my blogger friends, I had people that I grew up with, etc., but I didn't know anyone, at least closely, who was an entrepreneur, let alone a female entrepreneur. So my first winter in business, I was really down. I would call it like, you know, like a mild winter depression. And so I started to seek community. And I ended up joining a mastermind, and all the women in the mastermind were actually service-based businesses. Okay. And so I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work, but this just feels right. I feel like I've found my people. Yeah. And so I joined, and it's really interesting to see how my business is not only product, but it has shifted to offering services and creating community, which is my legacy.
What you were looking
like
for.
I figured it out. Like I'm actually good at bringing awesome people together and kind of creating space for a safe, supportive environment. So now I host pop-up shopping events in support of women-owned businesses.
And you have one that's coming up in
with Artists and Fleece Soho.
Yes.
We just put down our deposit this week, so
Congrats.
September 22nd, if anyone's around.
Well, we will post about it and share it,
so
send us all the info.
And it's amazing. You'll be able to support about 15 plus women-owned businesses in the retail space. And what's really cool is that I offer mentorship throughout the process. Like I want them to maximize their time and their experience with us. And my whole thing is creating an environment where women as entrepreneurs and beyond come together as sisters, not competitors. So I host a call beforehand and I encourage them to get to know each other before they're in the space. So that's kind of how.
That's amazing.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
What a story.
Yeah.
What a story.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even manage your time with all of these different endeavors?
Day by day, it's a process. Like every day is so different from the other, which is also very exciting and it keeps things interesting, but sometimes it gets overwhelming, especially because opportunities just pop up all the time, especially through We Are Women Owned, which we just rebranded as We Are Women Owned a few months ago. It was just under my shop, and I was like, this is becoming something. This is what I'm actually passionate about. We need a name. And since changing the name alone,
did it take off?
It's just been growing, and you know, it's not as easy to grow on social media these days. It takes a little more effort and strategy and, you know, time.
Do you have any extra help? Do you have?
Right now, I do have a marketing intern who's been awesome. She just started. We might have an event intern. I hired someone freelance for launching a blog soon to help me create content, but outsourcing needs to happen ASAP.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot.
Yes. You gotta schedule everything. So how else has social media really helped grow your business? Because you're now essentially an influencer too.
Well, I started out as more of an influencer, I would say, and it's still taking me a little getting used to using that term, but I feel like I'm at a crossroads with it right now. I recently changed my handle from The Style Theory to my name because I wanted to take ownership of what I've created, and I actually took on my middle name as well to kind of give myself permission to take up space and hopefully inspire other women to do the same. But now I feel conflicted of like what to post. Are
you partnering with other brands, or are you focused on the brands that you're working with?
I've stopped, kind of. I would say it's been put on pause a little bit, but I'm still sent product, and collaborations will come through here and there, but because my time is so limited right now, I want to make sure that it is like the perfect partnership and that I'm totally invested and they're invested in me. So I'm still open to it, and recently that the interest and I guess the fire has been reignited, and I started to come up with content ideas for The Style Theory. So I'm still very much figuring that out. But what I will say is that everything I've done since, you know, going to school for acting up until now has come full circle because I've met a lot of bloggers and PR and press companies, and I invite them to our events.
That's amazing.
So it has helped in that sense of like, I have this following here, and it does leverage your business a bit, I will say. You know, so people, they'll check out my personal account as well, and they'll be like, oh, this is who you are. And then more opportunities have come in that way. So opportunity, and in terms of expanding my network and getting them involved in our community, social media has totally helped with that.
What advice would you give to someone who's looking to first start their business or become an influencer? What have you learned?
Oh my gosh, so much. There's like so much that I could say about this. One thing that I found really comforting, Katya, who's one of the founders of Birchbox, I went to create Cultivate, and the biggest takeaway that I took from it was she didn't know what she was doing. They didn't know what they were doing. And I think a lot of us as entrepreneurs, I feel like bloggers and influencers are also entrepreneurs in their own right. We're hard on ourselves because we don't know it all. And we feel like we can't do it because we don't know it all, or we're really hard on ourselves. And so just to hear her say that and how far they've come and grown, like it was everything to me. So number one, you don't know it all. No one knows it all. It's a process, and you learn a lot as you go. I actually started my own mastermind, which launched this past month. And one of the things that I really want our women to focus on, and I think entrepreneurs in general, is to start with your why. And there's a book by Simon Sinek that is incredible. And I found that if you're not clear on your why, you're going to struggle with everything else throughout the content. And it's much more challenging to grow and sustain your business if you're not clear on why you're doing it and who you're serving. And I guess the last thing I would say, even though there's so much more, is that aside from like having a great concept and being driven and determined and so genuinely passionate about what you're doing, that can take you pretty far, but finding a supportive community will take you that much farther. And it's completely transformed my life and my business. So I encourage all of you out there to find, like-minded entrepreneurs or whatever it is that you do. Like, find a group of like-minded, truly supportive people, collaborate, brainstorm ideas. and that sort of thing. We actually have a private Facebook group if anyone's interested, if there's any female entrepreneurs out there.
Oh, I'm definitely going to join.
Yeah, you should join. I would love that. But I think those are my 3 biggest pieces of advice.
Those are definitely great pieces of advice. And where can everyone find you, follow you, and can people still apply to be part of the pop-up, or that's...
Yes, I'm actually going to start officially announcing it today.
Okay, great.
So, because it's exactly a month away. So yeah, you can find us at, well, you can find me at Lisa Nicole Rosado on Instagram at We Are Women Owned, and then the shop is the Style Theory Collective, and you can apply to become a vendor at wearewomenowned.com/popups.
Perfect. We'll definitely be posting that everywhere. We work with a lot of female entrepreneurs who might be interested. So amazing collaboration. I'm so excited for your pop-up. We'll definitely come. When is it from? When it starts a month from today?
So it's Saturday, September 22nd, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And when does it go until?
It's only that one day.
It's the one day. Okay,
it's the one day, so you got to come.
That one day. We will definitely be there. And thank you so much for coming on the show today. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't say the giveaway.
Yeah.
God.
We forgot about the giveaway. Oh, you guys are still watching till the end of the show.
If you guys start sharing and commenting on this episode, you will be entered to win a $50 gift card to the Style Theory Collective. And there's so many cute things, so definitely share it.
And make sure you enter, because otherwise Jules is going to enter over and over again to win her bag.
I'm going to make accounts and share it.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.